Hello everyone and welcome to our Fireside Chat series. I'm Tim Holick and with me as usual is my good friend Joe Zinni.
Good morning.
How you doing today?
I'm doing good.
That's good.
Number 11.
Number 11.
I'm looking forward to this one.
Now what are we talking about today?
We're going to talk about self-worth and self-confidence. And it seems to affect a lot of people. Self-confidence, they lack it.
And that's what stops a lot of people.
And it does.
Exactly right.
That's exactly what happens, is it stops a lot of people. And I'm not talking about conceit or, whether
cockiness.
Cockiness. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about having enough self-confidence to move forward. And I know that we all have self-doubt.
Right.
You have it, I have it, we've talked about it.
It's a mechanism.
It is. And I've seen you come in here and go, am I worth this? And I said, come on. But there's certain things that we need to look at when we talk about self-confidence. And I know that there's self-doubt. How do you eliminate the self-doubt, build that confidence back up again?
Well, a lot of it has to do with our mindset. You know, I recorded something the other day on Facebook on Saturday that our mind is the greatest asset that God gave us.
Sure.
It's what separates us from the animal world.
Yeah, it does.
An animal world can't think. We can.
Yes.
So that's a great gift. And unfortunately, what puts people there is they're living with the mindset of scarcity.
Yes.
That there's only so much to go around. There's only so many pieces of the pie. It's not true. You need to live in the abundant mindset. Because if you don't live in that, you're not seeing what's possible. In my mindset, there's enough to go around for everybody, no matter what I'm doing.
Right.
You know, I don't look there and say, I gotta beat those people because if I do, it's all mine or I'm gonna get a good portion of it. No, there's enough, there's 8 pieces of pie and then some.
Yeah.
Because it's what you're creating. And too many people live in the scarcity mindset. They don't know what really gets them to that next level. Low self-confidence, we all, like you said earlier, we all live that.
Sure.
I have days when something doesn't go right, and I always question myself, which is good. That's my perfectionist personality. I think that's my biggest driven part of my body, is I'm a perfectionist.
It works for you and against you though, Tim.
It does. Yeah. It does. You have to fight it. Fortunately, I don't stay in that too long if it's a lower.
How do you do that?
How do I do that?
That's the piece that people are looking for. How do you do it?
That's the abundant mindset. That, like I said here, filling negativity and woes is like filling your mind with that is like putting sugar in a gas tank. It stops you. You know, you need to always be looking forward. What is possible and what will be possible. There's your abundant, not scarcity mindset. You're always looking forward and saying what can be. That's exactly what gets people there. Unfortunately, people might start off there. The one thing I notice when you go to seminars or you go to see a motivational speaker,
right.
How do people leave there?
Feeling good.
Feeling good.
They're pretty high. They're gonna get out there. They're gonna do that. They've just been energized.
So what stops them from doing anything? Themselves.
The doubt.
The doubt. Maybe the work of it. As soon as I leave those, I think of what's possible when I just get out. What could be possible when I go down that road, and what am I going to get out of it? If you don't put that in your mind, you're living in a scarcity mindset that it's not possible, or there's not enough pieces of the pie to go around if I do that.
Create another pie.
Right?
Create another pie.
And that's what happens. You just hit it right on the nose. You create another pie.
You have to. So you get the negativity. You eliminate that, but now you've got outside negativity. Someone else telling you can't do it, or they can't do it, or it's been done and it can't be done. How do you conquer that? Because that's a tough piece. Because you got people go, Tim, you can't do that, or I can't do that, or or it can't be done. How do you eliminate that?
Well, I get that a lot as an owner of a business here at Wood Palace.
Great.
I say things, and a lot of my employees, lots of times in the past and still today, I don't think that can be done. I tried that before. Well, did you try the right things? I push back on people like that. And what am I doing when I push back?
Well, you're giving them a thought process. You're building their confidence.
That's right.
Yeah.
They need to think. I never take no for an answer. That's the entrepreneur in me.
Sounds a little familiar.
You know that, don't you?
Yes, I do.
You might hear something. No, I don't want to hear that. What can we do to make it better?
Well, we just had a conversation in your office about, you want to do this. I don't know how to do it. Tim, I don't know how to do it either, but we're going to find out how to do it. You need to look past the piece is stopping you. Okay, I don't know how to do it. Well, then you learn how to. You create another part.
Right. Because low self-confidence is your mind.
It is all
Your mind, it's all mind.
It's
You're
all
doing
us.
that. We've talked about that in the past, and you know, we talked about in one of our segments here about what makes me go past. Well, it's like football. I played linebacker.
Right.
I didn't look at the guy in front of me. My mind was already thinking about getting the quarterback or whoever had the ball.
Right.
So what am I doing?
You look past it.
Looking past it. And I'm pushing that person aside, I'm bowling them over, I'm going around them, whatever it takes to get around that person to get to that other side is all I'm thinking about. So it's the same thing with life. You want to excel at a business yourself. You want to excel at a level marketing business. You want to be better at your job. You want to be a manager. You better be looking past where your mind thinks now, because if you keep it where it is,
It's not going to go any further.
it's not.
And the analogy we talked about before also is when you're playing chess, you always want to play chess with somebody better than you, because that's the only way you're going to learn.
And you want to go up against people that are better than you.
Absolutely.
Because that's how
Your
you
competition
make
level.
yourself better.
Your competition level may still be you, but you want to be better than that. You
I
wanna
told
go
my
past it.
grandsons that, you know, one year they, you know, I think it was last year, they went into an elite league. And the team that they were in didn't do well. Because this is a step above. And actually, Jay, the younger one, was in that same team. So he's a year behind.
Yeah.
But I told him, you might have not had a better year, you know, record-wise, but you made yourselves better because you played against kids who were that much better than you.
Made them better anyways.
That's right.
And every one of those players, every one of those athletes should have gotten something out of it. I watched a basketball game last night where a team was getting beat pretty bad, but I sat and thought about it. You're in the third quarter, you're out of the game, what are you going to do? You're going to play, learn something from you, and do your best to play as well as you. You're going to win the game? Probably not. But can you still play better? Absolutely. And that's a confidence thing.
I love stories to tell people only because it makes them think better. You know, what you just said relates back to the 2013 season with the Patriots. They got blasted on a Monday night game against Kansas City.
Yeah.
I mean, they swept them up and wiped them all over the field. But you know what Belichick saw at the end of that game? What he said at the end of the game? His team never quit. They still played their hearts out because they wanted to score. That's when he knew the season was going to be better. And what did they do? They won the Super Bowl that year.
Well, it's part of, you know, again, your confidence took a beating that night, but it's only one night.
Right.
It's only one day. It's only 1 hour. It's 1 week. You can't let one piece stop you. You need to find that confidence level again, and you're going to lose it. You're going to have the self-doubt.
They competed.
But you need to go back to the basics.
That's right.
Well, who are we? Okay, so we lost. No big deal.
What did we get out of it?
What do we get out of it?
The biggest thing Belichick got out of it was the heart of his team.
And you
That they still played hard, even though they were getting beat 30-something to nothing, whatever it was. I don't know the score of the game.
Right.
But it's all about where you put your mindset. Mindset is everything.
That's your winner.
I see people in the level marketing stuff that I'm in with the coffee company, the FES company with helping people with their credit scores. People beat themselves. They want to go forward, blah, 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 and then they just die out. If some didn't work, they let it go.
Well, they let
It's a
that-
mindset thing.
They let their self-worth suffer for it.
That's right.
So now, and it's interesting, it's a perfect segue to my next question is, you're never afraid to try anything new.
No.
Why?
Because I believe that there's no such thing as failing
Right,
if I try.
right.
You know, because sometimes the failures, or what we call failures, I just call them, they didn't work. I didn't make it work. That's actually what I do to myself. I didn't make it work. What did I learn from it? No, there's no failure if you tried. I mean, I love it when people say, oh, I filed bankruptcy, or this happened to me and I had to do this. I had to sell the business because I would have lost everything anyways. Well, you tried. You got a lot out of that.
But did it stop you? You did the bankruptcy thing, felt the sting from it, and then built again. That's bringing your confidence back. Don't let it stop you.
Right, because most people will let it identify.
Yes.
And that's the worst thing you can do. Anything in your life, you can't let it identify you, because that's the me in us.
Right.
The I is still intact. I've
Yes.
said that many times over here.
Yeah.
The I is still intact. The me just suffered some bruising.
Yeah.
You need to look past it. You need to look forward. Again, what are we saying? Past and forward. Keep that thing going forward, because if you vision where you really want to go, nothing will stop you. You might try a bunch of times and not make it, but I tell you, that's going to make you better, and it's going to make your mindset better if you keep bouncing back. I've mentioned the thing, Darren Hardy from Success Magazine. I always loved his analogy of the ball. Be the ball.
Yes.
The ball is thrown against a wall. At high speed, you're going forward high, like if you're looking for something going forward for yourself.
Absolutely.
It hits the wall. What happens when it hits the wall? The ball goes out of shape.
Right.
It just completely goes out of shape. And where does it go from there? Backwards. But that's when you bounce back again. The ball always keeps bouncing back. You need to keep bouncing back as a person. You can't let it identify you. A lot of people go through divorce and let it identify them.
They do. My father said to me years and years ago, and I didn't get it at the time because I was a young kid, but it stuck with me. Life is not a rose garden. It is not going to be easy. You're going to find the struggles. Okay, so you have a struggle, work through the struggle. Don't give up. Don't let your confidence suffer from it. Don't let your self-worth. You're worth something.
Everybody's worth something.
Don't let anyone tell you you're not worth anything. You're worth something.
That's right.
You need to believe that first and foremost.
That's right, or you won't go forward.
Your self-worth. I look at it all the time. I look at you and what you're doing, and I see you get beat up. Your self-worth comes to the top automatically. Look, here I am. Here's what I've done. This is what I'm going to keep doing. When your self-worth gets bruised, what's the first thing you say to yourself?
Make it better.
Yeah.
Make it better. Keep going forward. Because people ask me all the time, what do you think your self-worth is, Tim? I don't know. It keeps appreciating.
Right.
I'm always appreciating it. Always appreciate my self-value, because it never stops.
Don't ever forget that.
You never hit a plateau. You just hit a plateau to go to the next one,
Right.
and the next one, and the next one. I think Donald Trump has proven that.
Yeah.
He's pretty successful as a businessman, no matter how people think about him.
Right.
Whether they say, well, yeah, he filed bankruptcy, this, that. He still was successful as a businessman, whether he was dirty at it or not. And he went to another level. He became president.
Yeah.
And look what he's accomplishing.
And that was a goal.
Love him or hate him.
It was
That's
a
what he's
goal.
accomplishing.
And he proved anybody could become president. And Abraham Lincoln did it.
That's right.
He came from a totally different background, but it all came from the fact that they have self-worth. Is Trump a little cocky about it?
Yeah.
But it's part of his self-worth. That's what makes him feel better.
That's who he is.
And you can do that. Don't step on anybody.
No.
Step on yourself.
Step on yourself first.
And
To me, it's all about helping other people. If you help other people, it'll come back for you. It's not the fact that you're looking for it. It just automatically happens.
Yes.
You know, what do they say today about Valentine's Day? About love. Hollywood's, skewed our thought of love, of getting loved by this one, loved by that. No, love doesn't stop. Love is a verb, like Covey says.
Yes, it is.
You give love
It's a
first.
very interesting concept. Folks, check it out. Stephen Covey, Love is a Verb. Google it, check it out. It's very valuable too.
Great article. on
Yeah, it's a
that.
great article.
Stephen Covey was a mastermind because he put it together. He said, I didn't invent this stuff, I just put it together into a system.
It just reminded us of what it's out there. And sometimes that's all it really is.
So he wasn't cocky.
No.
He didn't take the value over himself that I made this all up. He said, this is stuff out of books. I just put it together into something people can understand. And his was the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Right.
And that's his book. That's where it started all and things. But I've always looked forward. I look back. People say, you look back. I always
Well, of
look
course you
back.
have to.
I have to look
You
back
live in
and
history.
say, sometimes you got to lick your own wound.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to make yourself feel better that way. You just can't stay in that mentality. But I look back to say, what did I do wrong? So I can do it right next time. I proved that freshman year in high school when I was in carpentry, because that's the trade I want. I'm a woodworker. I'm a hand person.
You're a builder.
I used to go home in freshman year, and you went through that quarter. Each quarter you did a different shop, and in carpentry you always had a project. You did quite a few projects in that quarter.
Yeah.
I used to go home and practice it at night myself. If it was a half lap joint by hand, went down and practiced that half lap joint was perfect. It could have been planing something. I kept practicing, and that's how I got better at it.
And it's all part of the confidence level.
Yeah.
You know you can do it. You just need to train yourself to do it.
And at that time, I didn't have a lot of confidence.
No.
I just was looking forward because I wanted to be good at it.
Yeah, well, a lot of us didn't have the confidence. And unfortunately, people carry that in their adult life.
They do.
And the sad part about that is, you know what, they've really had it, it's inside, they just need to bring it out.
Yeah, you just
You're not the only one that's gonna bring it out, I'm not the only one that's gonna bring it out, everyone can do it, you just need to take the time to do it.
You do. You need to look at yourself and see what's bugging you, what's making you low self-confidence for one thing. And then you need to tell yourself, I am worth something.
Yeah.
I might not go forward and it works, but that's okay. You need to just keep plugging forward and keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. That's going to increase your self-confidence right there.
There is
and your
some-
self-worth.
There is something to one step at a time.
Yeah. I'm worth a lot of money in my mind. I just don't know what the figure is because it keeps appreciating.
Well, and you know what, the key to the conversation I think we had today is you keep appreciating. You need to appreciate what you have,
Yeah, you need to appreciate that way.
and you need to appreciate what you can have.
That's right.
And it's important to do that. Don't forget where you came from, folks, either.
True.
We're not talking about being cocky. We're talking about being confident. And remember who you are originally and build from that. Tim, you've always been that solid guy. You continue to be that solid guy. It's easy for me to sit here and talk to you about and ask you questions about what it is that makes you you because you're honest with folks.
That's right.
You're honest with yourself first. So if you have low self-esteem or you have low self-worth or self-confidence, be honest with yourself.
Yeah. You're not as bad as you're thinking you
You're
are.
not bad as you think you are.
And but everybody, a lot of people, I'd say 80% of people suffer from that.
I don't know what the number is, but I'm sure it's very high.
The 80-20 rule works in a lot of different
It does.
things. Just appreciate who you are. I say a lot in my posts too. Love yourself first.
Yes.
If you don't love yourself, you're not going anywhere.
You're not going anywhere. You got nothing.
You got nothing.
You got nothing.
Love yourself first. Tell yourself who you are. Be that good person and keep stepping forward. Keep looking ahead. Where do you want to go? That's a key in your
That
life.
is the key.
And if you can keep putting that in front of you and keep striving for that, keep striving for that, keep striving for that, you'll never hit the complete top plateau. You're going to keep hitting different plateaus. You're going to go above eventually the plateau you wanted to get to. You have to. You're going to keep improving because there's so much more in life that you can give. And I always tell my wife, my daughter, and people I know, when you start to feel that of accomplishing and doing and helping other people get to where they want and get to yourself to where you want, there's no better feeling.
Well, and it builds your confidence.
It does.
And that's what we brought to you today. Our next segment 12, is going to be on energy. We're going to talk about that. We've talked about energy in the past.
Great subject.
I think it's going to be a great subject, and again, we'll dig into how you find your energy and bring that up to the folks. Thank you very much. This was a good topic, I think.
Thanks. Thank you everybody for joining us. We enjoy having these by the fireside.
Absolutely. See you next week.